G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags and welcome aboard the Beaufighter 21. Now the Beaufighter 21 that you see in game is actually an Australian variant of the British aircraft. We liked the design for our Pacific Theatre campaigns, but we decided it didn't quite have enough guns, so the Beaufighter 21 is the most heavily armed version you can get. 4 20mm Hispano cannons with 1,132 rounds of ammunition and 4 12.7mm Browning heavy machine guns with a little over 2,600 rounds of ammunition spread between them. Add to this the 8 rockets you can sling underneath the wings, or the fact that you can replace the drop tank, which signifies the Beaufighter 21 as you can see here, with a torpedo for attacking ships, and you've got a pretty nasty machine in terms of offensive capability. Unfortunately, the machine is not without its problems. This is an Era 3 machine that's battle rank 5. In other words, an Era 3 machine that has an Era 4 battle rating and will almost exclusively see Era 4 battles. Now, while the weapons performance of the Beaufighter 21 is easily the most powerful in the series, and in terms of weapons capability, the Beaufighter 21 is one of the most heavily armed heavy fighters in the game. The only aircraft that truly rivals its capability is the B6R3 from the German line, the 410. Its overall airframe performance, however, is not a lot different to the Beaufighter 10, a full battle rating below it. Considering the competition that this aircraft has to go against, this plane gets stomped pretty hard. Common enemies you'll be fighting in this aircraft, well, Hokkaido first up, that is the most common matchup you will get. You'll be facing F8F1s, F8F1Bs, P51D, all variants, premium Spitfires. As well, of course, as the mighty B-17s, but you actually want to face those. Much like the R3 from the German line, this thing is incredibly good at taking down B-17s. For German aircraft, you're looking at G6s, G10s, K4s, TA-152s, D-13s, D-12s, D-9s, A-8s, 410 R3s, basically your worst nightmare collection of potential enemy aircraft. Now, of course, for this match, we're facing the Russians on Krimsk, and it's Yak-9Us that we have to deal with. Now, I've already popped an AI and some ground targets on the way through this map. I was looking for more bombers, but the Russian teams very rarely bring them along. A lot of Yak fighters, a lot of LA-7s is what you tend to face, and a lot of King Cobras. So, being aware that I've got an aircraft behind me that's following me in, I'm going after the Yak-9 ahead of me first. He will continue running, I'm waiting for him to break and return back. P51D is in pursuit, there's no way known I'm going to be able to keep up with him, so the P51 is probably going to get this kill. This is the biggest fallback of the battle rating that this Beaufighter finds itself in. It's just not fast enough. Yak-9 passes through behind. And it's interesting, this is a Yak-9T, I'm not sure how he got into this battle. This is a little too high for him, I thought. But set him on fire. Nice deflection shot. I was monitoring through. Now, I don't trust Russian aircraft on fire. They have a tendency to go out and then come back and kill you later. So just bring the plane back around. While he's not manoeuvring hard, put some lead shots in and make sure I finish the job. Put him down. And this is something that I recommend all pilots do when facing Russian aircraft. Put a few extra shots into them and make sure you get the kill indicator before moving on. The number of times I've seen Russian aircraft's fire go out and they're still combat viable is disgusting. So a second Yak-9T presents itself. Moving straight ahead. Now I need to do something to distract him because I don't want him getting that gun lined up, full squad of rockets at him and then just unload the guns into his wing. Take his wing straight off. He never fired a shot in my direction. If you've got the rockets on, that's actually a worthwhile distraction. It's unlikely you're going to hit an aircraft in that sort of a setup, but pilots will tend to shit themselves when they see 8 rockets flying in their general direction. It will usually be enough to prevent them from lining up that shot on you. So from here we enter the boring part of the match. Now, the only remaining enemy aircraft we know about was last detected on the far side of the map, so while we're all heading in that direction to go find him at the moment, Me, a P-51 and a Spitfire are racing around trying to see who can get the most ground targets while we're trying to find this guy. Yeah, both of those are a lot faster than I am. You know exactly who won, although I get a couple. Let's skip through to the actual final fight. So we're about 5 or 6 minutes later, we're about 7 k's away from the target. The P-51 and the Spitfires have managed to catch up with the final P-63. Our BTD was the one who discovered him. Unfortunately, he took critical damage on his way through. The P-51s are being smart. They're trying to very carefully not head on this P-63. I, however, I tried to try my luck. 1.5, zoom up, start firing the lead shots. Split his plane, but his last 37mm shell takes my wing. Still, a Beaufighter 21 in exchange for a premium P63 King Cobra, an A10 to top it off, the Balancer Award, final blow, and victory. Fair trade. So yes, the results for that match was first place, but I did get shot down. 3 player kills, 1 AI. So it was 2 Yak 9Ts and the P63 A10. 4 ground kills. Multi-Streak X2, Air Windstreak X3, Anti-Mech, Terror of the Skies and Balancer Awards. 79,534 Silver Lions. 16,860 RP. This was on a premium account on the X5 event. So not a bad round, and why the 16,000 RP wasn't enough for me to get a spade, it did get me awfully close. This plane itself I quite like. I really do love the Australian Beaufighter. It's just all guns, but for its airframe performance, the battle rating it's too high. The main problem the Beaufighter 21 has isn't actually facing aircraft at its own battle rating, at battle rating 5. It's when it gets tiered up into battle rating 6. When you start facing aircraft that's cruising speed is nearly double your cruising speed. Aircraft that are capable of dive speeds far beyond the capabilities of your airframe and are capable of carrying the same amount, if not more, weaponry than you are. In those situations, outside of a very, very, very few lucky situations, this plane becomes a free kill for the enemy team. And this is part of the reason why you don't see Beaufighter 21s very often, because they will regularly find themselves in that situation. Which is a damn shame. Anyway, moving on to the next match. Now this is an aircraft that I had a surprisingly large amount of requests for. This is the MC200 Series 7, and this is a fun little plane to fly for an Era 1 little buzzbox. Highly manoeuvrable, it's not very quick, but it's not slow for an Era 1 machine either, I suppose. Armed with 2 Italian 50 caliber machine guns, this is a good little plane. Just beginning to engage a Spitfire Mark 1. Just tracking the target through the blackout here. Now, Spitfire pilots will always maneuver with these aircraft, and I really do find it amusing. The MC200 is more maneuverable. If you are trying to outmaneuver it by turning, you are making an easy target of yourself for its 50 caliber machine guns. In this situation, Spitfire pilots should be using their superior speed to evade the MC200 until they're in a position to be able to engage it more successfully. Engaging in a turn fight like this, well, you've seen me punch massive holes through its wings, I've wrecked its maneuverability, put more shots into it. Now I do make an almost fatal mistake here. I've killed the engine to try and roll it over and actually passed back in front of his guns and allow him to put a very small burst into my wing, but I've done so much damage that in turning to get those guns on me, he couldn't put himself in an uncontrollable dive and slammed it into the forest. So that's my first kill. Now I'm looking at a P400 in the distance and I'm moving towards it. As I said earlier, this thing is not incredibly fast. About 375 kilometers an hour will pull it up. So as an interceptor, you've got time. Now this match should also be viewed as a bit of a cautionary tale. This one isn't a win. This is a match where Well, it's a really good example of sometimes no matter what you do, your team doesn't want to have a victory. Now, second target's lit up in the background. There is a Hurricane over behind that P400. Now, the P400's heading away. The Hurricane is coming this way, so I'm prepping to change targets if it comes close. Hurricane is actually far more worrying. It's more manoeuvrable than the Spitfire. It will be able to keep up with the MC200. And why it only is armed with 7.62mm machine guns, if that thing is loaded up with incendiary rounds, most of the NC200 is made of wood. It'll burn quite nicely. Hurricane Mk.21 is moving on our BF-110, so he's going to be my target. Lead careful, put shots into the side. Loop over and you can get a really good angle of the amount of damage this wing has actually taken now. Manoeuvrability is actually quite hard. The plane is not stable on its shots at the moment. You'll notice the cursor jerking around a lot as I'm adjusting. It's countering for the wing. But get shots in and fireball the Mk.2. That'll do nicely. Second kill. Okay, so there's now two P400s. Time to head in that direction. I'm just checking my 6, seeing where all my allies are. The BF-110 has kept going, so I'm over here pretty much alone at the moment. Not a problem. First P400 passes through. Let it go. Maneuver in on the second. Now, as you can hear, the 200 Series 7 is carbureted, so negative Gs will cause a stall out. P400 loops around, put it on a knife edge to turn in. Just trying to bring the guns around. I'm more manoeuvrable, I'll get them on target first. And then I'm not sure why he did that. He rolled himself inverted, stood on the elevators and drove the P400 straight to the ground. The second P400 is being engaged by a 109 and a 110, so fine, I'll kill this P shooter instead. I have 525 rounds of ammo on board. I don't want to waste it, just in case I need it to take out more aircraft, but he's here. Just make the shots count. Plane yaws slightly off aim, straight line at this time, rip up the tail, fireball it, done, thank you very much. Kill number 3. Now, as I'm diving out of the area, I spot a fourth AI coming in. I realise that I'm being targeted by all the AI at the moment. I do try and ignore it and head back towards the P400, but the wing is damaged and that is an AI, and it is an M2P shooter, so it has a 50 caliber. And it's closing in. I'm going to have to deal with this one. Just watching it. Yeah, it's 6.5 kilometres behind me. Or 0.65 kilometres rather, 650 metres. Pass around, just keep it on a knife edge. I am having to use the aileron slightly to counteract the lack of lift from the right wing at the moment. WEP is off because I am overheating my engine again. This thing does overheat fairly regularly, but it's pretty easy to control. Just pulling it back to 100% is usually all you need to do. A couple of quick shots into the airframe. Don't quite give that enough lead. Fire too late. But goes down anyway. Kill number 4. Now from this point, there's only one enemy aircraft remaining and none of us know where he is, so we go strafing out ground targets. And we're doing everything we can to try and destroy everything we can that's on the ground, because we don't know where this last guy is. We're still losing on points. Eventually though, we run out of ammo and we take a little bit of damage and we have to RTB. Simple enough landing, nothing major going on, yet the match still ends. Now originally this was going to be a, unbalanced map. Ground forces won it for the enemy team and the German side was set to lose, which is what happened. The ground forces are what won this match. Unfortunately, it wasn't because of the map balance. If you look through, I got first place, 2 player kills, 2 AI kills, 2 assists, 4 ground targets before I had to RTB and the match ended. But I'm the only player on my team to have gotten any air kills whatsoever. All the losses the enemy team suffered, their own planes crashed. Nobody actually shot anyone down. To top it off, I was the only player, or one of only 3 players that actually did anything in the match. The remainder of the team didn't destroy any ground targets, didn't get assists, didn't hit any air targets, didn't do anything except fly around in circles and get shot at. When only 3 members of your team are doing anything at all and you are the only one that is doing anything involving enemy aircraft, it doesn't matter that the map's unbalanced, you're probably going to lose anyway. As for the rest of the match, well, Terror of the Skies, Anti-Mech, Bulletproof and Balancer, 25,519 Silver Lions, 1,484 research points. Wasn't a bad match overall. Well, besides it being a loss, that is. I guess the best thing you can take out of this match is don't be one of those players that does nothing for your team. Try and put up a fight. This team didn't, and that's what caused the loss. As for the MC200, great plane. I really am enjoying it. Well, until next time, ladies and gents, fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.